My grandparents she was concerned.
Call to order the Stephenville Council meeting for Thursday, February 12th, 2026. Janelle, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Bailey? Here. Councilmember Ross?
Here.
Councilmember Wondler? Here. Councilmember Smith?
Here.
And Mayor Cruz.
I'm here. Hey, if you'll please join me for the pledge of allegiance. Mr. Underwood, would you lead us in the pledge tonight?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, we'll call for public comment on anything that is not on the agenda under the jurisdiction of the Town Council of Stephenville.
Yes, my name is John Schneeberger. I'm a resident of Hamilton, Montana. I'm with the Bitterroot Climate Action Group, and I've sent the council members a link to some important climate information. This is part of the Bitterroot Climate Action Group's project to provide local government authoritative articles backed by peer-reviewed research on the problem of rapid human-caused climate change. I would note that this information is disappearing from government websites, NOAA, NASA, the EPA, Department of Agriculture, and Forest Service and the like because of political considerations. So we felt it's necessary to provide you with this information, and that we will be doing so on a regular basis. In this spirit, I'm only going to cover some top line issues having to do with snowpack. So I'm going to take a few minutes here. A link to this information has been sent to you. The 2017 Montana Climate Assessment is the result of 2 years of of work by university, faculty, students, state and federal agency researchers, nonprofit organizations, resource managers, and citizens from across Montana. Partners include researchers from the University of Montana, Forest Service, Montana Bureau of Mines and Geology, and the Montana Water Center and the Montana Climate Office. It has, this report was specifically on agriculture, water, and forestry. The first assessment, specifically in regards to snowpack, which is what I want to talk to you about tonight. Historical observations show a shift towards earlier snowmelt and an earlier peak in spring runoff in the Mountain West. Projections suggest these patterns are very likely to continue into the future as temperatures increase. Earlier snowmelt and spring runoff will reduce late summer water availability in snowmelt-dominated watersheds. Another quote, both empirical studies and model projections demonstrate that snowpack in the Northern Rockies and in the Pacific Northwest is more vulnerable to warming than other regions in the West. For example, the report showed that Western Montana and the Pacific Northwest have experienced the most drastic declines in snowpack value in the West over the past 80 years. Unlike Rocky Mountain regions in the South, Montana stores a significant amount of snowpack at mid and low elevation, 8,000 feet and below, particularly within the Flathead, Kootenai, and lower Clark Fork basins of northwestern Montana. We're in the Clark Fork basin. In regions such as these, the projected increase in temperatures will result in reduced snowpack and a higher elevation snow line. Low elevations west of the Continental Divide are exposed to relatively warm Pacific air masses. These regions have experienced an increase in precipitation falling as rain instead of snow since the 1950s, a trend that is expected to continue under future climate conditions. Mid-elevation locations tend to be the most sensitive to warming trends because small increases in temperature sometimes result in temperatures rising above freezing, which is less likely at higher, thus colder elevations. The report showed that from 1950 to 1999, spring runoff has come 10 to 20 days earlier in basins below 8,000 feet. As you well know, all these mountains are below 8,000 feet. While basins above this elevation have shown little to no change in runoff timing. Thus, for Montana, changes in snowmelt timing should be more pronounced for areas west of the Continental Divide and low elevation style sites east of the divide. And I've got a little handout for you guys.
Please give them to the clerk, please.
Very good.
Thank you.
Something else. That's all I have for you.
Thank you.
We'll be back.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Any other public comments?
Good evening. My name is Cole Stuber, and
My name's Jacob Wallace.
we're both currently seniors at Stevensville High School, and we're both a part of the We the People team this year. And We the People has been a program that's been going on at the high school for about 9 years now. And this year was our first year we won the state championship in We the People. And with that, now we are fundraising to go to the national competition in DC. So we just want to tell you a bit about our, just a little bit about it. It's a constitutional competition. It's similar to speech and debate, but it's more oriented towards the Constitution. So you open up with a 4-minute opening statement on a question, and then you give that. And then there's 3 judges that after that will give you follow-up questions for 6 minutes. And these judges are attorneys, professors, very knowledgeable people. What makes our team unique this year is we only have 4 people on a team, when the other teams we beat out from Glacier and Laurel had 24 people. So it's kind of like a David versus Goliath story. As the paper said, we were in both the Bitterroot Star and River Valley Republic recently. So now we're fundraising to go to the national competition to represent the town of Stevensville and the state of Montana in the national competition. And so now we're fundraising. So Jacob, do you have anything on that?
I don't really have much else to add, but if anyone here or any of you would have any connections to people who could be interested in donations, or if you would be interested in donating yourself, on these flyers, if would it be all right if I hand it to the clerk?
Yes, please.
There is contact information to a website where you can donate, and there is information on how to contact our head coach and our teacher, Mr. Wesley Wells. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask him, that'd be great, since he's been running this for 9 years. And we're really happy.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Councilmember Smith.
About how much are you looking for in order to get to your
Well,
destination?
So the total amount we need to fundraise is $22,000. We've put a decent dent into that so far. We're doing various raffles, as doing social media stuff. But yeah, that's the total amount that we need to fundraise.
Since this is going out on YouTube, there may be somebody out there, plus who's ever here.
Yep.
Any further comment or question from the council? Okay.
Thank you,
gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Anything that's not on the agenda that's under the jurisdiction of the council? Okay. Hearing none, we'll go to approval of the minutes. First item is the town council meeting minutes for 10/18 or 1/8/2026. Councilmember Smith.
I move that we approve town council minutes for 1/8/2026. Make that, 1/8/2026.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Just wanted to second the motion. To have a motion on the floor to approve the town council meeting minutes for 1/8/2026. Is there any public comment on the minutes? Okay, any council discussion or debate? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Councilmember Bailey? Yes. Councilmember Ross?
Yes.
Councilmember Wandler?
Yes.
And Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Okay, next item on the agenda, special town council meeting minutes 1/12/2026. Councilmember Bailey.
I will make a motion to approve the special town council meetings for January 12th, 2026.
There's a motion on the floor to approve town council minutes for January 12th, 2026. Is there a second? From the motion on the floor to approve special town council meeting minutes for 1/12/2026. Is there any public comment? Okay, no public comment, any council comment or debate? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Councilmember Bailey? Aye. Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wandler?
Aye.
And Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 4-0. Next item on the agenda is town council meeting minutes for 1/22/2026. Councilmember Bailey.
I will make a motion to approve town council meeting minutes for January 22nd, 2026.
A motion on the floor to approve meeting minutes for January 22nd, 2026. Councilmembers.
Second.
Councilmember Smith, second. So the motion on the floor to approve town council meeting minutes for January 22nd, 2026. Is there public comment? Okay, council comment or debate? Okay, call for the vote.
Councilmember Bailey?
Aye.
Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wandler?
Aye.
And Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Okay, next item on the agenda, special town council meeting minutes for February 9th, 2026. Councilmember Ross.
I move that we approve special town council meeting minutes for February 9th, 2026.
A motion on the floor to approve the special town council meeting minutes for February 9th, 2026. Is there a second? Councilmember Wanda seconds the motion on the floor. So there's a motion on the floor to approve the special town council meeting minutes for February 9th, 2026. Any public comment? Okay, hearing none. Council, debate, comment? Okay, hearing none, call for the vote.
Councilmember Bailey?
Aye.
Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wandler? And Councilmember Smith?
Motion carries 4-0. Next item on the agenda is approval of biweekly claims. Councilmember Smith.
Yeah, I move to approve biweekly claims 20172 through 20210.
Okay, motion on the floor to approve the claims for 20172 through 20210. Is there a second? Councilmember Ross seconds. The motion on the floor to approve the claims 20172 through 20210. Public comment? Council comment or debate? Councilmember Smith.
I would like to move that we take number 20174 and look at that at the end of the, you know what I'm trying to get at? Delay that until the end here,
So you
look
want,
at it as a separate item.
so do I understand that you want to move to pull claim 20174 out as a separate item from the agenda?
That's it, yes. Yes,
Is there a second? Okay, second on the floor to move claim 20174 out as a separate item to be reviewed and approved by the council. Okay, is there any comment on claims 20173 through 20210 with the exception of 20174? Council, comment, debate? Councilmember Bailey.
On page 74 of the packet, there were several line details that I didn't see on there. Let's see. I wrote 74, let me find it here.
We'll need a claim number on this.
Okay. Okay, page 75, I apologize. And the number is 20197, Stevensville Hardware. And
Okay,
it's-
that carries over for page 74 through 75.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a long one.
Yeah, sorry, what the lines I'm discussing though are on page 75. And that was for, $14.54. It looks like there was work gloves and batteries purchased, and then there's another line for $14.54. A line for $14.55, and then another line for $51.20. And I did see under those amounts.
Robert, do you have an answer for those?
I'm just looking it up real quick. Excuse me, my eyes are a little off today. I'm just looking at the invoice right now. So they. If you want to add the 14, because those were divided among the 3 funds that were used. One's the general fund, sewer fund, and the water fund. So the total amount, I have got it up, is. $42. It's gonna be more even.
If I remember correctly, these are just incidentals that they needed out in the field.
Yeah, it's a whole lot. So when you see this is the breakdown of what goes in each fund.
Mhm.
If you look at the breakdown of the individual list, it's bolts,
Okay.
sealants, and it have to be divided among the 3 funds. So I could calculate it back out, but it would take, a little while if you see where the numbers came from. But that's why it's broken down like that on the front sheet, because it's the 3 funds for the
So the allocation,
$52,
Yeah.
which is $52, $51.
okay, yeah, I just didn't see any detail on those lines, so I was just curious, but
Okay, yeah, so that's what it is. It's just the list of bolts and
all the
yeah, there's,
goodies.
the sandpaper, there's there's a bunch of stuff on here. So nuts, bolts, and the next one would be nuts and bolts, so we could add them all together, divided by.
And that 1454 may have been a second set
What's
of
it divided?
workloads again, so yeah.
Okay,
It could be, yeah, so it'd be,
It's on the same day.
thank you guys.
Any further questions on that set of claims?
No, I think that settles it.
Any public comment on that set of claims? Okay, any further debate on that set of claims? If you could, please call for a vote on that set of claims, and then, we need to take about a 5-minute recess for one of the council members, and then we'll come back and address that other item.
Councilmember Bailey?
Aye.
Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wondler?
Aye.
And Councilmember Smith?
All right.
Okay, so 5-minute recess. There's 2.
So this is about.
Well, we're breaking up, we'll break the trip up for 5 days. And,
It's just, and they don't.
I want to make sure it's correctly.
Yes.
Okay, we'll reconvene the town council meeting for February 12th, 2026. And we're gonna pick up on claim 20174. Councilmember Smith.
The reason I'm looking at this and wanted to pull it out, I'm looking at this 20174 Cash and Go cars for $658. Turns out that this seems to be a tune-up, replacing spark plugs and boot kit. That just seems to be a lot. So I wonder if we could break it down in,
You address me?
yes, could we break this down? Is there a receipt that there's a breakdown on this? So we can hear what this is all about.
Mr. Underwood, could you break down that claim 20174?
Yeah, so there's spark plugs that are $29 a piece for $232. There was a plastic boot kit for $76 and labor for 2 hours and a half at $140 an hour for $350 for a total of $658.
How much were the spark plugs?
$29 a piece.
Wow.
Yeah.
Obviously, I find that a bit high. All right, thank you for the explanation, and I know it's been paid, but I would like to ask Mr. Mayor if it is a possibility that we can do something in the future like a motor pool type thing, where we can just put out to bid a mechanic and, get about 3 or 4 bids or whatever.
I've already started discussion with the department heads, Chief Motley, Chief Bowe, Steve Lassiter, and our airport manager, to discuss the details of being able to do maintenance and how to reduce the cost of that maintenance. So we're gonna, in the near future, we'll be having a few more little get-togethers to see what we can do about that, and maybe come up with a plan to create like a motor pool agreement with one or more of the local mechanics and try to get our costs down.
Very well, that was the point I wanted to make. Thank you.
You bet. Okay, so this claim is up for nomination or motion.
I move that we approve claim number 20174.
Okay, motion on the floor to approve claim 20174. Councilmember Ross, second. Okay, is there any public comment before we call for the vote? Okay, any further council comment? Okay, not, call for the vote.
Councilmember Bailey? Aye. Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wondler?
Aye.
And Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Administrative reports, Mr. Jermaine, airport.
All right. So starting with some maintenance, so just to give some of the new council members a little context here, we had some failures of our lighting system, our airport runway and taxiway edge lighting system over the last several weeks, and so we've been troubleshooting that. So what we found is that one of these systems, there was one of the circuit boards that controls some of the lighting, it had failed, so we were actually able to get that replaced through warranty, even though this system is well out of warranty. The manufacturer was just gracious enough to send us a new one, so that was nice. Through that, we found another component that had failed, that actually caused that circuit board to fail. So that we had to purchase. So that was a transformer, an isolation transformer. So we purchased that. But the real disappointment came that we found that the what's called our remote decoder or remote receiver for our lighting system seems to be struggling. It has become intermittent. And so what this system does is that because we're not a manned controlled airport, when a pilot's flying in, he can key the mic any number of either 3, 5, or 7 times to turn on the lighting at the airport. So this is a remote receiver that hears those keys of the mic and then interprets those and then turns on the lights. That system seems to be failing now. So I'm working with a vendor that thinks that they may be able to service it, but this component is 40 years old. And so we might find that we're at the end of its useful life, but we're trying to see if we can repair this thing. Yes.
Did you say 4 or 40?
It's 40.
40?
Nearly 40 years ago. It, in fact, has a yellow tag from the same vendor that I'm talking to that serviced it in 1992.
Okay.
So it's quite an old piece, and it's surprising because we did a lot of work to the lighting system back in 2017, but for whatever the reason, this component was not replaced. The regulator was replaced, all the wiring, etc., but this remote receiver was not. So hopefully we can get this fixed without having to replace it. The replacement's about $4,500. But right now, the airport does not have any lighting, so night operations really can't happen. There is a notice to airmen that has been published with the FAA showing that our lighting system is out of service. I will keep renewing that until we have this resolved. But right now, we do not have any lights at the airport. So even though we were able to get some of the parts and get some of the parts actually covered under warranty, unfortunately, we can't turn the lights on. So it doesn't really matter at the moment. All right, so CIP projects or capital improvement projects. The fuel farm is going to be active project right now. Contractor over the last month and a half has got the foundations in, got all the infrastructure in. Is really just waiting for the tank itself to show up. So the tank is kind of a long lead time piece of this whole thing. It's to be delivered in March. The date is a little nebulous at the moment, but we're about a month out from having the tank delivered, and then it'll be about another 3 weeks to get it piped and commissioned and ready to start operating. So we're probably late March or maybe even the first week or so of April before it'll be up and running. But good progress has been made. Actually next Wednesday, we start advertising for our asphalt rehab project, for that project to go out to bid. So this is a project that was actually funded in 100% last year by the FAA and the Montana Department of Aeronautics. Went out to bid and we didn't get any bidders. So fortunately, you lose the window when that happens, and so now we've got to bid it out the following year. So that funding still exists; it's still sitting there for us, but we're going to put it out to bid. We've had good outreach with a lot of subcontractors that do this work, so I expect to receive some bids this time. But we'll get those, and then what were we targeting? The March 9th, March, one of the council meetings in March. I forget what it was now, but
It'll be March 12th meeting.
March 12th, that's right, thank you. March 12th will be opening those. Fuel sales, January saw a significant increase in fuel sales, largely due to just better flying weather. We sold 512 gallons, both November and December. We're down around 200, so more than double for a total of $2,752.79. And then lastly, we had the annual meeting with the Montana Department of Aeronautics at the end of January. So every year they have their annual board meeting where they go and allocate all their funding to various airports. Mowing has been a challenge at our airport for a long time, largely because we don't have a real appropriate piece of mowing equipment up there. And so we relied heavily on volunteers that have brought their own equipment up to the airport. to help us keep the grass compliant out there. Anyways, we put in a grant request at the end of last year to the Montana Department of Economics to help us fund a mower. This was considered a long shot because they've never funded a mower before. The FAA won't fund mowers. NBT has never funded one before. Lo and behold, we went up there at the end of, up to Helena at the end of January, presented to them, and they agreed to fund us $57,000 for a new mower. So we'll work through that process. That funding won't come until July, but we should be in a good place to get a new tractor and mower for the airport. So anyway, that's all I've got.
Any questions for Brian? Thank you, Brian.
Thank you so much.
The next item on the agenda is the building permit. I'm not going to read it, other than building permits, total fees collected $6,822.50. City Court, okay, Judge O'Connor has made a report, I'll read it into the record. To Mayor and Council, from Judge O'Connor, dated February 3rd, 2026, Annual Court Report 2025. The following is the annual report of the Stevensville City Court of Record for calendar year 2025. Below, between January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025, 96 new criminal cases were filed with the court, which is an increase from the previous calendar year. Most criminal filings were ordinance and Montana Code annotated traffic violations, driving under the influence, assaults, disorderly conduct, and personal family member assaults were among the non-traffic criminal filings. In addition to the above, several petitions to revoke were adjudicated. The court collected a total of $14,287.50 in fines and fees, and distributed $1,349.99 in restitution. The court received $935 in bond forfeitures as a part of the total fines and fees. Each month, funds are allocated and transferred to the town treasurer and county treasurer in accordance with legal requirements. The court is completely integrated with the state of Montana court case tracking system and the state's full court enterprise system. Balances in the court's trust account are reconciled each month with the final report filed with the Supreme Court Administrative Office. In addition to the new cases cited above, the court has continued its review of older cases where fines, fees, and/or restitution or warrants are outstanding. The court is in an ongoing process of reviewing the records and determining the appropriate course of action for those matters. This includes, but is not limited to, referring cases back to the town prosecutor for input or action, summoning individuals back before the court, initiating contempt proceedings, modifying previous time pay orders, and referring cases to collections. The process of review and revision of court forms and documents to ensure compliance with procedural and legal requirements continues as necessary. In addition, based upon training received at the judicial court clerk conferences, the court has undertaken a thorough review of past cases to ensure compliance with the retention schedule specified in Montana Code, as well as digitizing court files. The court continues to utilize Zoom to conduct many of the in-custody appearances, cutting down on the need and cost for Stevensville Police Department to transport those defendants. With the increased focus by law enforcement on criminal city code enforcement, the court also continues to review its bond schedule for ordinance violations to ensure it aligns with the recommended bond for similar offenses under the Montana Code annotated. It is my pleasure to serve the citizens of Stevensville as their judge. Please do not hesitate to contact the court if you have additional questions. Thank you, Honorable Maureen O'Connor. Next report. Will be the Finance Department. Mr. Underwood.
Yes, okay, before you'll see a cash report for January 2026.
And in the cash report, it lists out the fund on the left, which you see. And right now, I can tell you that the cash in most of the accounts is looking the best it's looked in a long time. We have a total of 23 funds. We have $4,330,000 in cash in the last month. And that's looking pretty good for the cash report for all the funds. Questions with cash. Next, you'll see the reconciliation of the monthly bank statement, which matches the cash report minus $160.23, which is a charge over if we get at the end of the month. It's just a clerical thing we have to do, and so that's the difference. And next month it clears up by itself. We'll get a charge back and some of these funds don't go through. Then you'll look, the next one will be the revenue for the town, for all the funds. Right now, we're sitting about 48% revenue going to be estimated through the entire year. The general fund being the one we really worry about, and that's 61%, right where it should be, because we're, 60% of the year is done. So we're right where we should be with revenue there. Everything else is looking pretty good, actually a little bit better than we expected, so that's actually pretty good. That's all we can really tell you. If you have questions with revenue? Okay. Then we have the expenditures. The first sheet you have is for the general fund. We'll just go through them. For the legislative, general government, and that really consists of the admin portion of, we're about 58% spend of the budget. The public safety, okay, and that's fire and law enforcement, they're at 52% spent, which is pretty good. And then public works, 59%. And then we have culture and recreation, which is parks, forestry, swimming pools, bath pad, the 52% for a total expenditures of the budget of 54%. And that's the general fund. With all the other funds, the other 22 funds, they're at 33% spent. And that's usually because some of the bigger projects like the airport we haven't paid for, and some of those kind of skew those numbers until we pay that amount. I do have one caveat with the claim that Ms. Bailey wanted, that was gloves and batteries. Okay, divided by 3 for the 3 funds for 43, 40, 63.
Thank you, Robert. Any questions or comments for Robert? Any public comment regarding the finances of the town? It doesn't matter of significant public interest, so. Okay. Yes, sir. Jim.
Yeah, so, for some reason, I always thought the town of Stevensville was poor as dirt, and this $4 million, it seems like, where is the council on, saving, versus spending on things,
Okay. Well, I don't know if you're familiar with our budgeting process.
No.
Okay, well, we're going to be going into that here in about another month. And we're gonna start analyzing everything that we have to do for the town. Every expenditure that we have to do. And we have to look at every dollar that we're gonna have coming in. And we will adjust our spending to meet our income. Okay, it's a pretty arduous process. I invite you to come and participate. It's not just cut and dry. I mean, we're looking pretty good on our funds right now, but we still have a lot of work to do before the end of the fiscal year. So by the end of the fiscal year, a lot of that money is going to be spent.
And if there was an excess, like, is there a favorite thing that might be, that if we had enough money in the town of Stevensville, then we would do this with? And I'm thinking of the water, because for no real reason.
I'm going to defer to my finance officer.
Okay, so it does sound like we have a lot of money. I've been here about 7 years. It's always been about $4 million. 3.4 when I first got here. It's actually moved up. And it's divided among these funds, but you can only do certain things with. Okay, there's 5 lighting funds, which they just pay for the electricity for those funds, right there's 10 grand. So it's kind of like that. Then we have, your water and sewer are our biggest funds. And so you have water is about 800,000 and the sewer is about 600,000 in the operating fund. But once again, that's going to most likely be spent down and spent money. We do have about 800,000 in the asset fund for water and about 600,000 in the sewer asset fund. That's one project, one street of our share if we get a grant. So it doesn't buy us anything when it comes to something like a water tower or a special project, or in a case where if they make us replace all the pipes in the town, which is they're looking at, that we won't make the match. That's just, so it looks like a lot of money, but it's divided out a lot of things. I'll give you one fine example. We have, it's kind of let me give you the exact number, because it's $355,000 in the TIF fund. That only can be spent on one little tiny area right over by Ace along that railroad. That's only, so you can't spend that on anything, you have to have a project. And so, I think we, with one of the funds over the years, we actually did what railroad crosses the road, that was one of the, we could actually spend money there. Other than that, that just sits there until we can come up with a plan. And that's just the way that fund is structured. So that we take that, each fund has got restrictions on it. The only fund you can actually spend anything and do anything with is the general fund, and that's the tightest fund we have. It's the one that's really tight.
As a matter of fact, right now, we're looking for a little extra money to be able to cut some trees down before we have an issue. So,
Thank you very much.
okay. Chief Motley, you're up.
Hey, my monthly report is in the packet. So January, we had 54 requests for service, 21 in the town, 32 in the district, 1 mutual aid call. So January, we had 54 calls, requests for services, 40 medical responses, 4 fire calls, and 10 motor vehicle crashes. Pretty much normal operating standard run, mix and match across for the month. However, in January, we had our annual banquet and awards ceremony. And so the town and the district, we jointly do that function. Between the town and the district, we have 54 volunteers on the roster. The town has 21 of those volunteers on the town's roster. So we're paying workers' comp on 21 volunteers, not all 54, but 21 of those. So just running through this kind of quickly for you. Last year, 2005, we had 730 or 720 requests for service out of the year. So, and that's up about 15 from the previous year. Pretty much in the normal range where we were. We had 60 MVAs, we had 29 mutual aid calls, we had 136 fire-related requests. And that's kind of a little bit out. We had 33 missed calls. So we had 33 that we had no response to last year. So that's kind of where that was. So we gave out some 5-year service awards at the banquet. We gave out 2 5-year awards, 1 15-year award, 1 20-year award, and 1 30-year award. We had 2 brand new Firefighter 1 firefighters that went through the Firefighter 1 program, and we had 2 EMT basics come through last year. We promoted 1 individual to captain. We promoted 2 cadets into firefighters, and we have 1 firefighter EMT that we promoted and put on, and 1 engineer EMT that we put on also last year. So we're building our EMS ranks. We just completed a EMT class, and out of that, we had 3 individuals in the fire department go through and pass. So they'll be credited and credentialed as NR EMTs, EMT basics. So that's a good thing. We need them. Also, this last year, we were able to able to, I don't know. We gave out 6 life-saving accommodations. That's a big deal. And we also gave out 8 critical care accommodations. So to be a life-saving event, it truly is and meets the criteria of actually saving that life. So we had 8 different members of the department perform a life-saving event last year. And we had 6 and 8. 6 of those and 8 that didn't meet the life-saving event, but everything right up to saving of that life. So we've been busy. They've been doing a lot of work. And keep on.
And I want to tell the chief, thanks for putting on such a wonderful banquet, and thanks for raising such hero children that you have.
Yeah, we're proud of them too. So anyway, we do this every year, so council members, when you get your invite, if you can, we'd love to have you attend. And that's all done by the associations.
Great job.
Questions? Thank you.
Kimbo.
Good evening. Just a couple quick updates. Officer Ball is going to conclude the 3rd week of the academy. Monday starts his 4th week, and by all appearances, he appears to be thriving. So no issues on that end. Sergeant Franklin and I restarted on the Intox 9000 today. So everything appears to be on track. All the maintenance for our fleet, the department fleet, is up to date, and so we're looking good on that end. Also, I attended the firefighters banquet, and I thought it was a really good event, and I appreciate Chief Ombley for inviting me as well. All right, so in your package, you'll have the monthly activity report, and if you would just follow along. I gave you the stats for the entire 2025 year. Already in January, we're moving past what we had last year for the month of January. We actually responded to 77 calls for service. We didn't make any arrests, but we stopped 18 vehicles and issued 14 citations, which is probably the highest month we've had. Again, as I've mentioned in the past, there seems to be an uptick in traffic accidents because we responded to and took reports on 5 traffic accidents. No injuries, but just a lot of damage. And so far in the month of February, we've already exceeded that number. So drive careful. We had 1 vehicle tow. The big 3 I like to refer to, we're still throwing goose eggs, homicides, robberies, and burglaries, which I can attribute to the fact that we're just a little more visible, being a deterrent to criminal activity inside the community. So thanks to my guys for being diligent. We did have 2 thefts. One of them was a gas drive-off, which we mitigated that and solved that crime. No assaults, no partner family member assaults. So from that end, we're looking good as well. We did have a fraud crime and 1 criminal mischief call, 1 privacy communication call, and 1 threat intimidation call. Suspicious activity. We actually responded to 3 of those in the month of January, and that's typically something like somebody walking down the street at 10, 11 o'clock at night and pulling on door handles. Or we see somebody walking behind the building, through the alley. We had 1 disturbance call, no unattended deaths, and did 3 welfare checks in the month of January. And that pretty much concludes. I did see a decrease in the number of burglar alarms and 911 hang-up calls. We typically have 4 or 5 of those a month, but we didn't have anything like that in the month of January. So, any questions?
Councilmember Ross.
Are the accidents all happening in kind of the same area?
So, like I said previously in one of the most recent council meetings, our biggest, what I'm looking at is from east side on Main, and it's kind of moved south now like the one I went to today, for example.
property damage. No injuries, but it was right there at 3rd and Main. So from east side south to 3rd Street is typically where we're seeing a lot of our accidents. I did work one over off of Buck and Central last week. But that's kind of a rarity. Most of them are staged, or we're responding to Main Street in those areas.
Is that a speed thing, you think, or?
No. I'd like to tell you what it is, but it's being unattentive, just not paying attention, talking either on the cell phone or maybe drinking a latte or whatever it is we do when we drive. You know, I like to mess with the stereo button in my truck, but yeah, it's just it's not anything that we could attribute to, you know, a certain speeding or running a stop sign. Although the one over on Buck Street was a failure to yield. But we're getting a lot of traffic accidents and we're not getting any snow, which is kind of puzzling.
Councilmember Bailey.
Do you have an update on the tasers and the new computers?
Matter of fact, bam. So we got all of our equipment in last week. Deputy Helton is going to come he's going to come through next week or probably the week after and do our certs so that we're authorized to carry the Taser 10. But we have all the gear here and everything's accounted for. And I've got it stowed in the armory. Matter of fact, Jeff and I put up the battery pack on the wall and plugged it in. And so we just need a source now to like download things like updates and NVIDIA and stuff like that. So, but other than that, we look pretty good.
And the computers are in the vehicles yet, or?
Oh, we don't have those on order yet.
Okay.
And we're kind of waiting on the results of one of the things I want to talk about is the Civic Club, Sean's group, and the American Legion has been a big help as it relates to getting the word out about the upcoming 4th annual chili cook-off. Been a big help to me, and we're not just covering Stevensville, but Ravalli County-wide. I've got people from close to Darby committing to the chili cook-off, and so we're going to use a lot of that to kind of pay for some of the equipment that we utilize on a day-to-day basis, and that would include the tough books. Money out of the budget.
Thanks, you both.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
Any questions? We good?
I have a comment.
That was easy.
Chief, it just seems to me that we have way more cars, way more traffic in town on a daily basis than we have
100%.
in the past. And I think that also contributes to a lot of
Yes.
different incidents and accidents. We had 2 today.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
it's just way busier in town.
And the chief is right. It just seems like we're a thoroughfare. From people coming from Hamilton, Florence, Missoula to, you know, East Side Highway or down to Corvallis, everybody comes through. You know, it's like we're a staging area. Traffic is just like bumper to bumper on Main Street at certain times of the day. I myself, I'll get stuck out there at East Side Highway in Maine. Take me 3 or 4 minutes just to make a turn. So, yeah, there is a lot of traffic coming through Main Street. That is for certain. But cost of doing business.
Thank you. Okay, next report is the Public Works Department. Steve Lassiter is on vacation today, so I'm not gonna read his report. It's in your packet if you want. Next item on the agenda is correspondence. This has been published in the newspaper. It's been on, I don't know every place it's been. I'm gonna go ahead and read it into the record. By the way, we had a planning and zoning board meeting last night, and if things work right, this problem would have never occurred. Dear members of the town council and planning and zoning board, please accept this letter as my formal resignation from the planning and zoning board for the town of Stevensville, Montana, effective immediately. I accepted this appointment with sincere desire to serve the community and to contribute to thoughtful planning, collaboration, and responsible growth. I value public service and believe effective governance requires clarity, accountability, respectful dialogue, and a shared vision. As a leadership development consultant, I have worked with many organizations and municipalities. And in my professional experience, I have rarely seen a town's leadership in such disarray. The town council's current environment lacks clear direction and presents ongoing challenges that I believe would constrain the work of the Planning and Zoning Board to make meaningful progress difficult to achieve. Given these factors and the time and commitment required to serve effectively, continuing this role is not a productive use of my time nor in the long-term interest of the town. Public service is most effective when leadership provides direction and fosters an environment conducive to constructive work. I appreciate the opportunity to have served and remain supportive of the town of Stevensville and its future. Respectfully, Dwayne Gibson. Mr. Gibson, thank you for your service. We appreciate everything that you did. Next item on the agenda is unfinished business. However, we need to request council, if you would please, to suspend council rules to move items A and E before unfinished business. Councilmember Smith.
I move that we suspend council rules and move item A and E before unfinished business.
Okay, motion on the floor is to suspend council rules and move item A and E prior to unfinished business. Is there a
Second motion.
Okay, Ms. Wandler has seconded the motion to move new business item A and E before unfinished business. Is there any discussion for the council on this? Is there any public comment? If you would, please, now take the vote.
Councilmember Bailey? Aye. Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wandler?
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to discuss in item resolution 540A, resolution adopting a fee schedule and charges for special events and park use for the town of Stevensville. Get over to it real quick. Bear with me a moment. There we go.
Do an A.
Yes, we're going to do resolution adopting a fee schedule for charges for special events and park use for the town of Stevensville. Resolution 540A, I will read the resolution into the record. Whereas Montana Code annotated 714123 subsection 7 authorizes local governments to charge reasonable fees for the provision of services, and whereas the Stevensville Municipal Code provides that usage rates, service charges, and license and permit fees be appropriately set by resolution of the town council, and whereas the town council periodically sets fees and charges for various services provided by the town, and whereas fees are established as listed in Exhibit A. Now therefore be it resolved by the town council of the town of Stevensville hereby adopts the fees for special events and park use with an effective date of the adoption of this resolution. We have further resolved that the adoption of this resolution voids previous resolutions pertaining to special event and park use fees. Passed and adopted, dated the 12th of February 2026, after motion and second at a regular meeting of Stevensville Town Council. The Exhibit A special event permit fee was previously set at $125. That remains the same. However, there is a renewal fee. Under Stevensville Municipal Code 22-315 subsection B, all events that last over 2 weeks are required to be renewed every 2 weeks by the town council. So there's an administrative fee to do that because we have to take the clerk's time and other folks' times to do this and put it on the agenda for the council meeting. So that fee is $15. Renewal is required every 2 weeks per town council, 22-315B, Stevensville Municipal Code. Power use fee was previously set at $20, but it was not properly set. It's $20 per day per event. Meter power use, kilowatt hours times equals the charge. We are working on the ability to charge us on power, okay? Right now, the fee was set for $20 and it's still set at $20. But we are experimenting with the use of local power meters so that you plug in, whoever plugs in, and we can actually see how much they use and then they can be charged that rate. It will probably be less than the $20 per day for most people. This one we bought for the town to experiment with. It was a little bit spendy. I personally bought this one to try. It's about a quarter of the price, and I think it does the same job. So we'll try them both. Okay, road closure with town staff assistance is $20 per day per street per block. Most cases, the special event people are closing their own roads. But if we use town people, we need to accommodate the fee for using town people to do that. Special event permit fee with alcohol use remains the same at $200 per event. Stage setup and moving fee, Civic Club is exempt because they own the stage. It's $100 event per stage. Bonfire permit remains at $50. Pavilion rental fee remains at $40. Parade permit fee without special event permit is $50. There is no rental charge for power panels. The town doesn't own those. They're loaned to us by the Civic Club. The power panels are privately owned. When portable kilowatt hour meters are available, the town will charge actual recorded usage multiplied by the town's power usage fee set by the town's power supplier and the actual charge for power usage fees. And the only time you charge for a road closure is if the town, or if the only time you, we don't charge for the parade because it's in the interest of public service to support the parade for the town. So no charge except for the parade permit fee. And what brought this all on was in a previous council meeting, we were studying between the time we wrote the agenda and the time we came to council, some of the material as to how these fees came about. And we discovered that our special event ordinance hadn't been followed in about 16 years since it was passed in 2008. And we looked at the previous version of the resolution, and there was an item that says annual events for $100, not to include special event fee, road closure, power panel, and all that stuff. Well, that statement means this: you buy this toy, but the batteries are not included. So that's where the contention came. So we changed that to try to rectify this and make it more fair to everybody. And we followed the ordinance. That's the way this is written. So that's my presentation to the council. Is there any public comment before we start? Sean? Thanks for coming tonight.
No problem. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sean Doyle. I'm the former president of the Stevensville Civic Club. The current president's actually sitting next to me. Just to give you a little history though, over the last few years between the Civic Club and also being a member of the Scarecrow team, I've been involved in 18 permitted events, 12 of which I did the paperwork solo, the other 6 I helped with. So on this here with the fees, just a couple of questions. One is the power use fee. Currently says $20 per day per event. It used to say $20 per panel per event. So the problem is trying to interpret what exactly this means, because, and here's the reason I asked. Let's use Scarecrow as an example. At 3rd Main on the east side of 3rd, behind Exit Realty on the south side of 3rd, there are 2 50 amp plugs and 2 20 amp plugs existing in one power panel. So 4 plugs that are town power that get used by Scarecrow. On the north side of 3rd, across the alley where the bushes are that run across down the First Security Bank parking lot, there is a self mounted spike with 250 amps by the alley, and then further down by church to 20 amps. The Scarecrow's running. There are food trucks plugged into all of them. So would that count as $20 per day for the event, being $40 for the 2 days of Scarecrow? Would that, if we go back to the panels, does it count as 3 panels being the separates? Does it plug? And the reason I'm asking is because there is the asterisk where it says when portable kilowatt meters are available, the town will go to that charge. But until then, and again, as I discussed in the council, the whole meeting, it is one area where the town is definitely losing money is when it comes to the power. But clarification for those that are running events, what exactly does this $20 per day per event mean? Does that just mean $20 to use power in general, or?
Right now, we made it consistent with the previous resolution. Okay, previous resolution said $20 for the panel, okay? We didn't really discuss individual trucks. We just went by the event.
But the old one said per panel, this one does not.
That's right.
So this one's just basically saying I get to use town power for $20 a day.
How many panels previously?
It depends on the definition of panel. That's another thing that's never really been truly
The
defined.
panel that I understand was the power panel that you supplied.
So if we're talking about, but then we were also like the 20 amp that's the far end by church, that didn't have a spider box plugged into it, but we were using the power there because we ran a stage and a DJ from those 220 amps. So we were using power from the town in 3 different locations, but we were only using 2 spider boxes. And that was so we can convert the 50 amps to 20. This is why I raised these questions is.
So in that case, you were charging $20 per panel, is that correct?
It would have been yes, because of the 2 spider boxes
Okay, so that would have been $40 for that event.
for each day.
So right now, we're set at $20 per day per event. Well, should we change that to say $20 per day per panel? That would be the question I would ask.
Because I guarantee you the 6 food trucks that are parked there along Third, if you're just saying $20 per day, they're using more than $20 a day in power.
Per plug.
So $20, recommendation will be $20 per day per panel.
At a minimum.
At a minimum.
I heard behind me somebody say per plug, but
Well,
I wasn't getting that far because I'll start pissing off groups.
yeah. Okay, so that's the idea behind starting to use these, so we can meter it out. So that's an option council can discuss.
Okay. And when it comes to those meters, the other thing that I want to mention, like right now, as I mentioned, there are a grand total of 8 plugs. 4 that are 50 amp and 4 that are 20 amp. As soon as we plug in can those plug into a 50 amp, or are there ones available? Because for both Creamery Picnic, everywhere there's town power, there are 50 amp plugs that we use.
We'd have to look, when I asked for these to test them, I only went with the 25 amp plug.
Okay.
So that's what it is.
Just something to take into consideration, because you got 4 50s over there. I know the pole on 3rd Main on the west side has a couple, at least 1 or 2 50s, and we use a few in the park. They use a few in the park during Kramer.
So that would be one of the things we need to look at, would be to make sure that we got a meter that would service the service.
Correct. And you'll need to make sure you have enough of them, because as I mentioned, like for Scarecrow, they have pretty much every plug between food trucks, DJ, some lights, that sort of thing. The next thing in the fees, the road closure with town staff assistance. As we talked about at the COW meeting, when it comes to Creamery, the Civic Club has volunteers that does the actual cleaning of the streets. And like for the parade, we close a lot of them. We close all the way from Burnt Fork Market all the way up to the north end of Main Street. So I think it counts as something like 14, 15 blocks. I know I'm not supposed to address her. Thank you. But we don't use the town resources to block the streets. The volunteers do that. We do use town resources to place the equipment for us. Because when at Creamery, when the rental equipment, it's over 40 barricades and signs and 125 delineators. Public Works has always volunteered for us in the past to run them around town real quick. They can distribute them in well less than an hour. So they do the distribution for us, but then we're the ones who actually close up the streets. So while we don't want town resources to do work for us for free, would we still be held to the $25 per block instead of this 14 or 15?
Yeah, because when we discussed this at the committee of the whole meeting, the idea was to support the parade, because they are a huge community event. So, the parade would not have a road closure fee.
Okay. That's it for now, till the next one comes up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay. We don't have a motion on the floor at this time. Okay, so could we get a motion? Councilmember Ross.
I move that we discuss resolution 540A, a resolution adopting a fee schedule of charges for special events in the park used by the town of Stevensville.
Okay, we're going to discuss it, or we're going to make a decision on it?
Make a decision.
Okay, so could you rephrase your motion?
I move that we make a decision on resolution number 540A, a resolution adopting a fee schedule and charges for special events in the park used by the town of Stevensville.
Okay, so motion on the floor is to make a decision regarding resolution 540A, resolution adopting the fee schedule and charges for special events and park use by the town of Stevensville. So with a motion like that, that is a neutral motion. It's neither approval or disapproval. Are you looking for the council to approve or disapprove the motion?
To approve.
Okay, so would you please rephrase your motion again?
I move that we approve resolution number 540A, a resolution adopting a fee schedule and charges for special events and park use by the town of Stevensville.
Okay, so the motion's on the floor to approve resolution 540A, a resolution adopting a fee schedule and charges for special events and park use by the town of Stevensville. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilmember Smith has made a motion to second the motion. So the motion on the floor is to approve resolution number 540A, a resolution adopting a fee schedule and charges for special events and park use by the town of Stevensville. Council discussion.
Does that include the modifications you discussed?
Currently, no. If you want to make move to change that, then you make a sub-motion. Okay, for example, if you were to change the power use fee, okay, and please bear with us, we're doing training while we're actually conducting the meeting, okay? So this would be, I would move to modify the power use fee to $20 per day per panel.
Yeah.
Okay, that would be a typical motion that you would make.
Go ahead and do that.
Can we discuss that?
Okay, please don't discuss between you without being recognized.
You want me to?
Yeah.
Councilmember Smith.
I move that we would approve that we would do the power usage from $20 per day to $20 per day per panel.
Okay, motion's on the floor to modify the power use from $20 per day per event to $20 per day per panel. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, there's a second.
The second.
Okay, so the motion's been seconded by Councilmember Wadler to modify the power use fee from $20 per day per event to $20 per day per panel. Okay. Councilmember Smith.
I would like to know the projection, how soon we can get these online, and especially ones that will do 50 amps.
That's a good question. I can't give you a projection right now because we haven't started our testing. Okay, as soon as we can get a week's worth of testing going, then we can bring that back to the council.
Thank you.
Because we're gonna have to buy another of these. Councilmember Bailey.
May I ask a clarifying question on this?
Sure.
Special event permit with alcohol fee. So if I want to have a special event, I need to pay $125 and $200?
Correct.
Gotcha. So do we want to strike special event permit and just leave alcohol fee at $200?
Janelle,
Can't have an alcohol without a special event.
Okay, so I'm just trying to clarify. So if I want to have a special event with alcohol, I'm paying $325.
that is correct.
So the way it's written to me, special event permit with alcohol fee is that I should pay $200 because I want a special event with alcohol.
Agree.
So it's like a third option I could do, or a second option rather, special event and then special event with alcohol. So it's really just a $75 upcharge the way it's currently written.
So special event. See, this is actually the way it's written in the ordinance.
Well, I think that was my question at the committee,
Yeah.
the whole meeting as well.
So that could be reworded to say, special event permit with additional alcohol use fee. Or something to that effect.
I mean, I don't see why we have to have a special event permit in there at all. I mean, we can't have a bonfire without having a special event, so we can't have alcohol without having a special event.
I actually see what you're saying. So perhaps this should be changed to say alcohol fee, $200 per special event permit.
Yeah.
That would make sense to me.
Have to be a motion.
It will be. Okay. So before we go past that, we still need to have a vote on the sub-motion, or did we already do that? Okay, so we need to have a vote on the amendment.
Of the $20 per day per panel.
Councilmember Ross.
Do we want to discuss changing that to outlet instead of panel? Because it sounds like we're using more outlets than just the 2 panels.
I'm saying let's keep it simple for right now. That's the way I'm looking at it for right now. And we'll know more when we use these.
That changes everything.
So we need to vote on the $20 per day per panel.
Yeah.
Any public comment on that? John?
I just wanted to clarify something. So you're saying $20 per day, per panel, per event. So in each event, I'm curious because you have the meters here at the same time. Are you charging per use?
No.
Or is that informative for the council?
No, what'll happen is right now, it would be $20 per day per panel. Okay? These will come in once we get our analysis done as to whether or not we can use these to actual meter the power so that, the individual only pays for what they're actually using.
Gotcha.
Okay, so we just put the provision in here so we would have it when we actually get these ready to go.
Gotcha. And what was the wording on that provision with those?
Metered power use fee is kilowatt hour used times the town's charge rate equals the fee.
Gotcha. So when does that take over versus the $20 per day? Per
As
day?
soon as we can get these in place.
Gotcha.
Or the individual may decide, no, we'll just do the $20 per day per panel.
Gotcha.
They
So
also-
bigger power users would be more interested in that.
Right.
Gotcha.
As Sean would say, the cooler trucks and things like that. 'Cause they use a lot of power.
Gotcha.
Brian?
I just feel like we should define what a panel is. Because I don't think a panel, at least electrically speaking, a panel isn't any of the things we're talking about here, right? A panel is a piece of electrical distribution that is typically metered. And I just feel like there's maybe, without defining that, I feel like this conversation is, or this order is gonna keep getting debated.
Sean, could you explain your panels?
So our definition of panel is the spider, we nicknamed them spider boxes. So basically what it is, it's a A-frame, like a sandwich board that goes out on the sidewalk. And one side of it has multiple outlets on it. I think some of them have 6 to 8 of them. We can take that, plug that into a 50 amp plug, and it then allows us to split that into multiple 20 amp plugs that can be used by smaller pieces of equipment, right? Panel from an electrician standpoint, from conversations with likes of Mr. Rubke, is again, when you look at the back of Exit Realty and you see all of those plugs, that would be a panel. It's gonna, there's gonna be circuit breakers for it, there's gonna be a meter that's spinning to measure the power and so on. The spikes that are in the bushes would technically be another distribution or panel that would go with it. So that's like when I was asking the question, what's the definition of a panel? If it's the boards we provide, cool. But if we're talking from electrician speak, it's usually the configuration of the plugs and the power that's available at the source.
So, one second. So the panels that we're talking about are your spider panels.
Correct.
So perhaps this should be modified to say spider panel.
The spider boxes?
Yeah, spider box.
This is what we have them nicknamed. They're portable power panels. Spider boxes is shorter to say.
Thank you, Sean. Councilmember Smith.
If someone can answer, from an electrical point of view, what are the boxes called if they're not panels? Brian, can you help with that?
Yeah, I mean, a panel is where all your breakers are in your house, right? That's your electrical panel. Right? And that's generally a metered piece of electrical distribution. And I'm not trying to pick the fly poop out of the pepper, sorry. But it was just saying, there was some conversation that kind of preceded this, and there was some confusion over what we're calling it. So I feel like maybe part of this, we should just define what a panel is, because we're also talking about these spikes. And if somebody was to plug into a spike, is that also?
The ones in the bushes?
Yeah, is that also a panel? Is it the same rate, or?
If we put a spider box into it, then you're using one of those off one of those 50 amp plugs.
Or we only
We need to not have these individual conversations. We need to address the panel. Janelle.
So I can give a perfect example of when a spider box would not be used, would be when somebody wants to rent West 3rd Street and plug one extension cord into the pole. No spider box needed. That's my example of now, what are you calling that
So-
when somebody comes into town hall and asks for that?
So this could get really complicated really quickly, whether or not you're talking about a single outlet, a spider box, or a portable generator panel, okay? It was never an issue under the old resolution, that we just called everything a panel. Everybody sort of understood what it was. And for brevity tonight, I think we should just leave it that way. Councilmember Ross.
I disagree with that. I feel like regardless of whether you have the spider box, the panel, whatever you call it, it's using one outlet. So if you just label it as an outlet, you're still, whether you plug a panel box into it, spider box, whatever you want to call it, you're using one outlet for that box.
Okay.
If you want to plug it into a spike, that's another outlet. And it just simplifies it. There's no confusion on what we're calling things. Which, in my opinion, that's a little more straightforward and eliminates some confusion.
So you would be looking at saying $20 per day per panel outlet?
Just per outlet.
Or per
of the
outlet.
city. And if they plug in one spider box and it gives them 10 outlets,
So you're
from
only-
there, they're only paying one city outlet fee of $20.
All right, so the motion's on the floor, to approve $20 per day per panel. So that motion would need to be modified to say $20 per day per outlet.
Sounds good.
So. Who, you made the original motion, right? Okay. So you would need to make the.
I would take an amendment to that. Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, so let me understand this, it's a little bit long. So there's an amendment to the sub-motion to change it to $20 per day per outlet. Okay, is there a second? Councilmember Ross seconds that. Any further discussion on that?
There is, gentlemen.
Yes, sir, Jim.
If we're gonna be consistent, I guess the name of that thing is a power distribution box. It's a panel that you have in your house, something different. And a spider box is a common name used for this distribution box. So if we could just call it what it is, a power distribution box, and then similar to what Councilwoman Melissa Bailey suggested, which was we're talking about if you tap into the power, it's going to be $20, but if you need the power distribution box, it should be more, just like the alcohol fee. So you can have a special event, or you can have a special event with alcohol. So here, you can have electricity for $20, or you have electricity, but if you want to rent the power box to more people,
If I may, we don't own the power boxes.
no.
They're supplied by Civic Club.
But
So we cannot charge rent on their equipment.
Oh, well, then it's free. But it's like, but if they break down, somebody's gonna have to, and they, hurt it.
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to make this as simple as possible. By changing this fee to one outlet. So if we got a meter, like down on 3rd Street, we've got a meter and an outlet, you plug into that outlet and you plug the spider box in, you're only gonna get charged for one receptacle. That's it. Okay. Is everybody clear on that? Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the floor to change this fee to $20 per day per outlet. Okay. Any further discussion by the council on that? If you would, please, take the vote.
For $20 per day per outlet, correct, sir? Okay.
What's the
Councilmember
outlet?
Bailey? Aye. Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wondler? Aye. And Councilmember Smith?
Okay. So the original motion before that was to change it to say $20 per day per panel. Okay. So you changed that. So we probably need to take a vote on that to shut that part down, and then you got your outlet is in place. So the motion that you need to vote on is $20 per day per panel. Okay. Jeremy, please take the vote.
Councilmember Bailey? No. Councilmember Ross?
No.
Councilmember Wondler? No. And Councilmember Smith?
No.
Good. So the final fee is $20 per day per outlet. Okay. And then the next thing that we need to discuss was the special event permit with alcohol fee to be changed to alcohol fee $20 per special event permit. Or, I'm sorry, $200 per special event permit. Okay. So do I have a motion on the floor?
I was writing, I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, Councilmember Wondler? Did you have a motion? No, she was. Okay, Councilmember Bailey?
Sure, I'd like to motion that we change, strike special event permit with, and add alcohol fee per special event permit, $200 per event.
Okay, so the change to the exhibit A would be to strike special event permit with, to read alcohol fee, $200 per special event permit. Is that correct? Is there a second on the floor?
Second.
Councilmember Smith, good. Is there any public comment on that? Any further council discussion on that? Janelle, would you please call for the vote on that sub-motion?
Councilmember Bailey?
Aye.
Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wandler?
Aye.
And Councilmember Spiller?
Motion carries 4-0. So now the motion on the floor is to approve resolution number 540A.
We made that.
We've made the motion. So is there any further comment on that? Any discussion? Councilmember Bailey?
Sorry, my iPad is dying. Let me just scroll up here. I saw, the third paragraph in the resolution itself says town council will periodically set fees and charges, with periodically being undefined. I'm not sure why we need the word periodically in there.
Just occasionally, when things come up, we can change it. That's all it means.
But do we need to have periodically in there? I mean, if we strike periodically, it says town council sets fees and charges for various services.
Okay. If that's what council wants to do. So is there a motion on the floor to that?
I motion that we strike periodically from resolution 540A in the third paragraph.
Okay, motion on the floor to strike periodically from the third paragraph of the resolution. Is there a second? Councilmember Ross. Okay, so motion on the floor is to change the third paragraph to say, whereas the town council sets fees and charges for various services provided by the town and. Okay. Any public comment on that? Any council comment? Any further discussion? Okay, Janelle, would you please take the vote on the amendment?
Of removing periodically,
Correct.
correct? Councilmember Bailey?
Aye.
Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wandler?
Aye.
And Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Excellent. Okay, so now we have the main motion on the floor is to approve resolution 540A. Any further council comment? Councilmember Bailey.
Page 119, 540A, Exhibit A, town personnel to assist with parade process. It says town personnel. Personal,
Oh,
just typo.
gotcha, it's a typo.
Yeah.
Typo.
Down at the bottom.
Okay, so you make a motion to correct that?
If we need one, yes.
Yes, please.
I make a motion that we fix the typo at the bottom of page or Exhibit A from town personnel to town personnel.
Okay, so motion on the floor to change the word, or to change the wording from town personal to assist parade process to town personnel to assist parade process. Is there a second? Councilmember Ross. Okay, so there's a first and a second on the floor to change the sentence to say town personnel to assist parade process. Any public comment? Any council comment? Any further council discussion? Okay, call for a vote on that change, Janelle?
Councilmember Bailey?
Aye.
Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wandler?
Aye.
And Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 4-0. Back to the main motion. Approve resolution number 540A. Any further comments?
No.
Okay. If you would please, Janelle, take the vote on the main motion.
Councilmember Bailey?
Aye.
Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wandler? And Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 4-0. Thank you very much. They're complicated, you know, it happens. That's-
Smooth it out.
The Cal meeting was over 2 hours.
Yeah.
So the next item on the agenda is discussion decision, approval and adoption of application special event permits. Okay, this application follows, the town code section 22-315 and, the definitions in prior to that. So is there any public comment on this application? and permit. Okay? Oh, sorry.
So a couple of things on this one. One of the things I would like council to understand, page 2 of the permit application, beginning off with highway closure, yes or no, it states then, if yes, please attach the Montana Department of Transportation road closure permit. As we've done in previous permit requests for the parades, we have to at least get the town's conditional approval before we can file, anybody can file for the transportation permit. On the transportation permit, page 3 of the Montana Department of Transportation's special event permit for road closures, highway closures, on page 3, it specifically asks special use permits require all other permits, city to be obtained, example, city, to be obtained before the permit is issued. And they do ask us, and if we're lying, the fine can be relatively huge. If we lie on the application for closing down the highway, we can be fined if we lie on it. And unfortunately, this is a case where the state wins. So when applying for a special event permit that's going to have a parade where we have to close down Main Street because that is Highway 269, we need at least conditional approval from town council. Now, in town code, often section 22.317, 318, can't remember, I was looking at it earlier today. The town does have the right to revoke any special event permit for not meeting all requirements, which would also include the Department of Transportation permit. So what's happened in the past is we at least get the conditional approval so that we can submit it. We can then get the approval from the transportation, and then that is given to the town clerk, who then informs the council to let them know that that has been finished. So on the application, highway closures, yes or no? If yes, please attach it. I think we need to change that to, has it been filed? Or will it be requested upon conditional approval, something of that nature?
So could something like that be brought to council as an independent item to close the road without going through the special event permit process?
I guess the question would be towards, sorry.
Then why would you close the highway if you didn't have a special event permit?
Well, what I'm saying is he's saying that he can't meet the requirement of this.
Correct.
Without the other, and he can't do the other without this. So why not allow that if you want to close the road, that you come before council, just as an agenda, and get permission to close the road and use the results of that vote.
Because he needs a copy of the special event permit showing that it was signed off to turn into MDOT. That gives proof that the town council approved to give him August 3rd, 2026 for Creamer Picnic Parade. An example.
Yes. As part of the Department of Transportation's permit application, we do have to provide the town permit. We have to provide our traffic control plan. We have to provide insurance. All the same things that unfortunately the town requires in order to get the state permit. And I've dealt with the 3 different district supervisors we've had that are up in Missoula over the last 4 years, and they're all adamant that you got to have it. Because as soon as you click no on the application checkbox, it immediately gets rejected. It doesn't even go to a person.
So how are we handling it right now with the old form? Because the old form, this is highway or street closure, yes or no, and we don't do a preliminary approval of that, you know?
So a perfect example of that would be Sean would come and meet with me on February 1st. We'd sit down, we'd talk about what's coming up for their year. We would put forth to the town council that special event permit form that we're currently using, and on there, the Civic Club will put, or Sean would put, MDT's road closure permit for Main Street will be included blankety blank, or will be provided after approval. I usually initial that then, that knowing that, okay, he's gonna take this, I'm taking the special event permit to the mayor to approve to put into the council, and then on that, during that meeting, sometimes they'll even ask, are you having any luck yet? You know, or whatever. And it's like, well, I will as soon as we approve this tonight, and then I'll send it in tomorrow morning. I do have to say, I think it's been much better about approving them
Yes.
quicker. They used to sit almost 2 months, and I think we've had a record of 2 weeks.
Yes.
It's been a quick turnaround for us.
So how would you, as the clerk, recommend we change this form to accommodate this?
I have to look back at the form again. I think that there needs to be a little more options to that question. That would be my suggestion. Maybe something that's refers back to the town clerk initialing that we're waiting for that piece to come, or the mayor initials that were MDOT's street closure to follow. That's what we say. I think that's what we usually say on that permit.
So if we change this to say highway closure, yes or no? If yes, please attach Montana Department of Transportation road closure. Because the old form says the same thing.
And we would make a side note almost every time, just a side note that just stated that it'd be on its, you know.
Councilor Smith.
What if we were just there, as they're filling it out, town conditional approval, yes or no? Then it's already been taken before us and you can, would that suffice?
For just a road closure, you don't need your signature.
Correct. Actually, yes, we discussed that, you're right.
So,
But I can't give road closure
for the highway.
for the highway, and the highway won't give closure to, let's say, the Civic Club,
Until we
unless they have
their-
special event permit approved. Correct.
Because
Councilmember Ross.
Could you state that will obtain the highway approval and condition of permit will void permit if you don't meet it within 10 days of the.
We could change this to say, if yes, please attach Montana Department of Transportation road closure permit to the approval page of the,
if I may,
yes.
the old form actually specifically said highway or street closures. This one specifically is just saying highway closure on the new event permit application. So that's kind of why it caught my attention. But one of the things that we could do with the highway closure on the form application, the permit application, the town could request a copy of the traffic control plan. There's nowhere in here that gets requested. You could request a copy of the traffic control plan and like parade routes and that kind of stuff in advance to get that conditional approval to then allow for the Department of Transportation's. And then, as another council member said, put in a statement that conditional approval can be granted, but permit could be canceled or denied if not provided 21 days prior to event, guaranteeing there's a town council meeting somewhere in there prior to it happening. But because what has happened in the past is we work directly with law enforcement, providing Chief Bo with the traffic control plan, with the parade routes in advance, just to get the conditional approval. And he would usually also speak at the meeting, saying, yes, he's seen it, yes, he approves it.
Councilor, if I may make a recommendation, let's table this permit for right now, till the next council meeting, so we can work out the votes. Councilmember Ross.
And that should still allow us, we're approving the previous permits on the old permit application anyway.
Yeah, that's fine. So there's a motion on the floor to table this until we can work out the vote.
I move that we table the approval and adoption of application for special event permit.
A motion on the floor to table the approval and adoption of application of special event permit until when?
Until
Say next council meeting,
Yeah, next council meeting,
it can be
226.
2/26/26.
Okay, so the motion on the floor to table the approval and adoption of application of special event permit until February 26, 2026, town council meeting. Okay, is there a second? Councilmember Waller, seconds it. Is there any further public comment? Any further comment from the council? Janelle, would you please take the vote?
Councilmember Bailey? Aye. Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wandler?
Aye.
And Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We will get this worked out and bring it back. All right, next item on the agenda. Discussion, decision, approval of special event for Stevensville Valley, or Stevensville Harvest Valley Farmers Market. Okay, is Bundren here, or is another representative for the Stevensville Harvest Valley Farmers Market here to speak to this?
Just Bundren.
Thanks for coming.
Yes, sir. Stevensville Harvest Valley Farmers Market President, and Stacy Barker is also here, who I have been working with for the last 3 years and taking over for. We've been on West 3rd Street. This will be our 14th year going on there. I want to note that this permit was approved by the mayor, signature on January 13th, prior to Resolution 540 being brought up and the new permits being brought up. Sorry, I don't want to say too much right now because I'm kind of speechless, but I look forward to.
If I may?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I approved this permit tentatively, knowing that it had to come before town council. Council has a final approval on it.
Yep.
Okay, but I did annotate that I had approved it from my standpoint. But later on, as we looked at this, I realized that wasn't quite the right thing to do. And that's why we brought it back. The ultimate approval here is town council, not the mayor. So, the only thing at this point that has really changed is,
The fees. That was my concern. It was approved before the resolution 540 came back onto the table. And the resolution was also brought back onto the table tonight prior to the permit for the second time.
but as we discussed at our committee of the whole meeting, if council or the mayor discovers an error, we are obligated to correct the errors.
This error has been in effect for the last 16 years and has just been overlooked like we were willing to do with the power panels.
I understand that, and that's what we're trying to stop. Okay, it was, in fact, this has been in effect since 2008. Okay, the fact that it hasn't been addressed since then is not a good thing.
So you're admitting that you also overlooked this the last time that you were in the seat.
When I was here in 2016, 2017, apparently I did as well. But we have several council members that did as well.
And we're also adding a $15 fee to that.
Yes, we are. And that fee is to pay for the clerk's work that she has to do to process this for every 2 weeks.
I understand that because I have to do the work too. Does that fee go towards maybe changing that ordinance in the future?
The fee is to cover the work of the employee doing the work to process the permit.
So even if, okay, so I guess another thing that was brought up in the last meeting, the permit has to be put in every 2 weeks. If it gets approved tonight for our dates listed on that sheet of paper, is the paperwork that we're putting in every 2 weeks just for paperwork, or
You have to bring it back before council every 2 weeks until we get the ordinance changed.
even though the permit that we're putting in for is May 1st or May 2nd through October 4th?
Yes.
So there's a chance, there's a chance that, say, August 3rd could be denied.
Janelle, would you please pull up ordinance 22-315?
I read the ordinance, I have it in my paperwork.
So the people of this town elected me to
I understand.
enforce the laws, and I'm not gonna break them. So if the ordinance needs to be changed, you're more than welcome to put an agenda item request in to have the ordinance changed. And then we can start pursuing that. But we have a punch list of things that we're trying to get fixed. This is not the only ordinance we have to fix.
I know, I guess my concern is the farmer's market has been here for consistently with advertising in the same spot for a very long time. And if we happen to get denied for, say, 2 weeks out of our 23-week season, I'm on hold with our vendors, our customers, the advertising that we've put in.
So why would you think you would be denied?
If it's first come, first serve, what if someone else comes in here right before we do?
Remember Smith, stand by, please. The way you do that is you put those agenda item requests in ahead of time.
That's it.
So I could put in all 12 of our requests in, okay.
That way you're first come, first served.
So I don't have to do it every 2 weeks,
You put.
even though it states I have to do it every 2 weeks.
There's no limit.
I just predate it every 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You put them in, you fill out one, leave the date blank, and put your date in that you want it to go before council, and you submit them to the clerk, and she will make sure they get put on the agenda.
Okay.
That's the way it works. Anybody can put an agenda item request in, any citizen.
Yeah, I guess the way that the ordinance reads is every 2 weeks. I'm more than happy to predate. I can go home and do that tonight. That's easy enough.
And we have an issue that we need to deal with too. And it's the fact that we don't hold council meetings every 2 weeks. So that's something that we've got to look at. We might even have to hold a special meeting to approve your 2 week time. So we're looking at that too. So we do have to look at the ordinance, and we will. But ordinances take time to change.
I understand that.
So,
I mean, we're a 23-week season. We're a year out from our next season. That's why I asked if.
And we're not here to try to hurt anybody. What we're trying to do is to comply with the law.
It's been a rough season so far,
I
sir.
understand. Councilmember Ross.
I believe also with as you stated in the first meeting, that the permits applications you guys submitted do hold the dates, and you guys are first come, first served.
It was also brought up during the committee of whole, yeah.
So I believe you would hold first priority for all the dates that you applied, contingent on we approving it today. If that makes sense.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Okay. Mr. Batista.
Hey, yeah, thank you for pronouncing my name right. Yeah, this is.
No, council, you cannot discuss this openly in a council meeting. If you want to make public comment, you can make public comment to the
Chair.
The council or the chair.
I was on my way up.
Okay, thank you.
So I am also, like, I wear my emotions on my outside, and you can kind of see this too. I'm the same way.
Hey, please make sure you address your comments to the council.
I was just gesticulating to the young woman who was just up here speaking. So, I'm a little bit upset, council. And the reason is, so the purpose of the town council is to make sure that the laws are enforced from your point of view. But I agree 100%. But not knowing what is being discussed is just leading us all down this road of confusion. It's seriously. So if I get this right, you want to make sure the laws are right and the wording is correct. And I agree with that. But in the process here, where we're trying to figure it out, everybody is left kind of not knowing. And everybody's left trying to adjust to the ever-changing wording that people are using to describe what a power box is. I still don't even know. I mean, I know what it's called, but I don't know what you guys are using the term for. So it would be so easy to just have an issue that the council has a problem with and say, we're gonna just adopt the old rules until we can figure this out and not leave everybody just hanging out, wondering what's gonna go on. What's the power box? Who's gonna close the roads? And you know who knows about all this? Janelle. She knows exactly how to do all this. And as we're changing it, so there's gonna be a lot of people coming in asking her, and she's gonna be, well, here's how I know how it is. So it would be great to do that. And the other thing is, as an educator, we're all up here wondering what people are discussing. What is a power box? Where are the streets? Why don't we have a screen here that says, everybody, this is what we're talking about. Here's the words that we're discussing and why we should need to change it. So we can all have a vote on it. So,
Mr. Batiste, with all due respect, we held a special meeting, a committee of the whole meeting to discuss all this stuff because we can discuss it more openly in a committee of the whole meeting than in a council meeting. In a council meeting, these agenda items are prepared and we're supposed to discuss the item on the agenda. And then in this particular case, the item on this agenda is discussion decision approval of special event permit for Stevensville Harvest Valley Farmers Market. So this is what we're discussing right now. And I understand your concern about the power meters and things, but that's a previous agenda item and we had to move on.
Will, all of this was initiated upon your review of the law and the words. And it left the last council meeting, there were 3 different groups that were the CARD, the cops, and the farmers market. They were kind of like, what do? We gotta sign up a permit and we don't know what to do. So it went from, everybody knows what's going on to nobody knows what's going on or what the definition of a outlet is or a power panel is. And so it's getting all jumbled up. And so, it seems like you guys might know amongst yourselves what you're talking about, but to communicate that to the rest of us, that's your role.
And as I said before, the item on the agenda is to approve this special event permit. That's where we're at right now. Okay, none of the other stuff is under discussion right now, just this special event permit. And it's strictly to approve a special event for basically 23 weeks, but it has to be renewed every 2 weeks by the town code.
Why? Just because, like, to get the wording right?
Because that's what the law says.
The new law.
The old law, the one that's been in effect for 16 years, sir.
So you're just clarifying the law. I guess, I'm sorry, I'm speaking without really knowing the data, right? And knowing the terminology. I'm trying to maybe defend others in the audience who I'm not supposed to look at, but I do feel where they're coming from, and I hope the rest of us can too, where the purpose of the town council is to make all of this run smooth. It's not to find problems and cause new ones. That's what I see is happening here. Can you see that? I'm done.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Ms. Barker.
Stacy Barker, 104 Winslet. I have actually helped manage the market downtown Stevensville for going over 15 years, 14 years on Main Street. It really disheartens me that it has come down to a fee. We're here for the public every single Saturday. Our market grew from 10 vendors to 45 vendors. Plus, there's ones that are on the waiting list. We probably have over 100 vendors that attend market off and on through the summer. With the fees that have been proposed to you guys in front of us, we went from a cost of $225 every Saturday to now we are looking, annually to $890 annually. So on those permits that you were talking about every 2 weeks, is that $15 per permit that we have to put in, an additional? Plus we have the power, and that's multiple times. I understand that was probably overlooked. You sat on the council, I sat on the council at the time. There was a time that actually the council came and said, yes, we want this community to have something every weekend. Hamilton has 3 streets. They pay $500 for those 3 streets. Doesn't go in front of council. It's approved through the city without the council consent. Missoula is the same way. Why do we have to have something that we have to bring in front of it that is a community event that supports the community every single weekend? We have sponsored a lot of different things throughout the community. And it really saddens me that now we are talking about upping our fees and that money will be on. We had Father's Day event that several of these different events. I see it as a money-making thing for the town. Think about your community. What is the needs for the community? What has helped the community? What has brought the community together? Same thing with the road closures with all the that you guys have proposed for Kramer Picnic. It's been an event that has gone on for 113 years. And now we want to add all these different fees. It really saddens me to think that our town is tearing these type of things out. And it started last year when there was a petition to bring us off of 3rd Street. Yes, there was. It sat right at Valley Drug. How many times did you come by and say, the loud noise? It really saddens me. There is an ordinance for noise and stuff like that. Sorry, there's vehicles that go through that stop sign or that 4-way stop and don't stop and roar through there. It's really saddening me that you guys are trying to take it away from us. That's all I have to say.
Any further public comment? Okay. You know what, we have a motion, we have a motion on the floor to approve this special event permit.
No, you asked for, Jess to come up first.
Yes. Okay, is there a motion on the floor? Councilmember Ross.
I move that we approve the special event permit for Stevensville Harvest Valley Farmers Market.
Okay, motion on the floor to approve the application for the special event permit for the Stevensville Harvest Valley Farmers Market. Is there a second? Councilmember Bailey.
I will second.
Okay, so the motion on the floor to approve the application for special event permit for Stevensville Harvest Valley Farmers Market. Okay, any council discussion? Okay, hearing none, call for the vote.
Councilmember Bailey? Aye. Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wondler?
Aye.
And Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 4-0. Next item on the agenda is discussion, decision, approval of special event permit for Stevensville Harvest Valley Farmers Market, Father's Day Car Show. Any public comment? Okay, any council motion? Councilmember Ross.
I move that we approve of the special event permit for Stevensville Harvest Valley Farmers Market Father's Day Card.
Okay, motion on the floor to approve the application for the special event permit for the Stevensville Harvest Valley Farmers Market Father's Day Car Show with Bitter Rotters. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Councilmember Wondler seconds the motion. Any council comment? Any public comment? Can you all please call for the vote?
Councilmember Bailey? Aye. Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wondler?
Aye.
And Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is discussion decision resolution number 581, a resolution to pay reoccurring claims out of cycle to prevent late fee penalties. Any public comment on this resolution? Okay, I'll read the resolution into the record. Whereas the town of Stevensville Finance Department has identified instances in which reoccurring monthly obligations, including but not limited to utility bills, lease payments, and other scheduled monthly claims, have due dates that occur prior to a regularly scheduled town council meeting for claims approval, and whereas regularly scheduled claims are customarily paid following approval at a regularly scheduled town council meeting, and whereas failure to timely pay reoccurring monthly obligations may result in the assessment of late fees and/or penalties, and whereas the town of Stevensville Finance Department proposes this resolution to authorize the payment of routine recurring monthly obligations prior to a regularly scheduled town council meeting when due dates do not align with the meeting schedule, and whereas as a compensating control, all such payments made prior to council approval shall be fully documented and presented to the subsequent claims report for council review and formal approval, with such claims clearly identified as having been paid prior to approval to ensure transparency and maintain council oversight. And whereas this resolution supports fiscal responsibility while maintaining appropriate documentation, review, and accountability consistent with audit standards and internal control expectations. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the town council of the town of Stevensville that regularly scheduled recurring claims may be paid out of cycle when necessary to avoid late fees and penalties due to due dates occurring prior to scheduled town council meeting, passed and adopted by the town council and mayor of the town of Stevensville, the 12th day of February, 2026. Councilmember Smith.
I move that we adopt resolution number 581A, resolution to pay reoccurring claims out of cycle to prevent late fees and penalties.
I'm sorry, it's resolution 581.
581A.
There's no A.
There is an A here.
There is?
No, a resolution. not
All resolution.
resolution.
Okay. I goofed up from a comma.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is to approve resolution number 581, a resolution to pay reoccurring claims out of cycle to prevent late fees and penalties. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Councilmember Wander will second the motion. The motion on the floor to approve resolution number 581, a resolution to pay reoccurring claims out of cycle to prevent late fees and penalties. Is there any public comment? Council comment or discussion?
Hasn't this always been done?
We normally can do things like approve out of cycle claims when we had, when town hall's gonna be closed, like on Thanksgiving or Christmas, something like that. But what happens is if we get some bills in sometimes the due date falls before we have a council meeting. And we wanna make sure that we don't incur late fees. We need to save some money doing that.
Yeah.
So that's why this resolution is being put forward. Any further council discussion? Shall please call for vote.
Councilmember Bailey?
Aye.
Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wandler?
Aye.
And Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Okay, next item on the agenda is discussion decision resolution number 582, a resolution of the Stevensville Town Council adopting park hours for Stevensville River Park. Resolution 582, whereas the town of Stevensville, Montana, being the owner of Stevensville River Park, and whereas the town of Stevensville, ordinance number 137, section 2, 11.04.020, hours of operation, closed hours, number 3 states that by resolution, town parks may be closed during specific hours based upon the time of year and the individual park security issues provided such closed hours shall be promptly posted at each entrance to the park in question, and now therefore be it resolved by this town council that the following Stevensville River Park hours be adopted as closed from sundown to sunup, dated 12th day, February 2026, after motion and second at a regular meeting of the Stevensville Town Council. This resolution was brought forward by Chief Bowe so that we can mitigate some of the instances that are happening down at the Stevensville River Park. Chief, you have anything more to say on that?
Yeah, so we're getting a lot of vehicular and foot traffic in those areas of the Stevensville River Park. They're going down there damaging property, doing donuts in the gravel driveway, camping out overnight, leaving trash. So our response down there in the late evening hours is typically more than our response during the course of the day. So like the Stevensville parks, we'd like to close them to keep any suspicious activity from ongoing down there like we do here in town. Any questions about that?
That's the park down by the river.
I'm sorry.
Is that the park down by the river?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a gate on the road?
There is a gate.
I thought, camping was gonna be allowed down there, the new renovations.
It's a different part of
It is a different part.
That'd
Okay,
be,
so it's back of it. Gotcha, okay.
The immediate part is the fishing access site.
Yes.
And Fish, Wildlife and Parks put parking areas down in there. We have a right of way through that goes over to our river park. And they're actually doing some work over there for us in that park. But we have a double iron gate that we can close and lock. We need to stop this before somebody gets hurt down there. There's nobody going down there tonight. Somebody rolls a vehicle down there. It's gonna be a big problem for us. Councilmember Ross.
Questions?
Okay, any public comment? Okay, any further council comment or discussion?
And the rest of our town of Stevensville parks are closed from 11 PM to 6 AM for the ordinance, correct? And so the reason why we have an ordinance just for this park is because they're changing the hours from our standard hours. Is that correct?
Yes. This allows the public works people to go down in the morning time when they get in to open it, and the police department will close it.
Resolution.
Any further comment?
Would be the Lewis and Clark Park is the only one that is lockable, isn't it?
Right now, it's not. We gotta get a gate down there.
But those are the only two that will be,
Correct.
the one in Ravenna County and the one behind us, isn't it?
Yeah, Father Valley Park is not lockable, Sixth Street Park is not lockable, Sacagawea Park, Veteran Park are not lockable. So,
Do we have any problems in those parks?
Well, up until we started closing the park at sundown, we were having significant issues out there, people camping overnight, trashing the place. Yes, ma'am. But what it does is it allows me and my guys, my officers, to approach individuals who are in violation of the ordinance and run them off. And also, but it gives us an opportunity to get out with people who are violating that specific ordinance and find out what they're up to and what they're doing, which typically keeps them out. I mean, over the course of the last 6 months to a year, since we brought this forward and changed the closure time on the parks, our response to Lewis and Clark, for example, is dramatically been cut in half. And so it just makes it easier. And for the people that live in that immediate area, I mean, they notice a significant difference, I'm assuming, in the number of vehicular traffic in and out of the park after closing.
was there a public comment over here?
I was just gonna say, are you gonna plan on putting a gate at Lewis and Clark Park? You're putting one down there at that other park to keep people involved.
We're talking about that now, yes, ma'am.
And what's the cost gonna be?
We don't know yet. We don't. Any further public comment? Councilmember Smith.
Do we have any provision for winter and summer hours?
Well, this park will be sundown to sun up.
Oh,
Yeah.
fine.
Same as
Yeah,
the.
That does.
So we're basically, when the sun goes down, it gets dark outside, why are we in the park?
Right.
And that ranges from like, we just, you know, I remember closing the park down at 5 o'clock in the evening because it was dark. And now it's getting 6:30, 7 o'clock before it gets too dark. So there is a time difference. That's why it's sundown, sun up.
Do we have a motion on the floor? Please have a motion.
Yeah, I'll
Councilmember Smith.
see if I can do it right this time. I move that we approve resolution number 582, resolution of the Stevensville Town Council adopting park hours for the Stevensville River Park.
Okay, motion on the floor to approve resolution number 582, a resolution of the Stevensville Town Council adopting park hours for Stevensville River Park. Is there a second? Councilmember Ross. Okay, so the second on the floor is to approve resolution number 582, resolution of Stevensville Town Council adopting park hours for Stevensville River Park. Is there any further council comment or discussion? If none, Janelle, please take the vote.
Councilmember Veely?
Aye.
Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wondler?
Aye.
And Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Okay, next motion on the floor, next item on the floor is for the town council to reappoint a town council president. Councilmember Smith.
It would be my honor and pleasure to nominate Miss Melissa Bailey for the president of the town council.
Okay, so the motion on the floor to nominate Councilmember Bailey as town council president. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so there's a first and a second on the floor to appoint Councilmember Bailey as the town council president. Okay, public comment. Council, you need to discuss this? Okay, Janelle, please take the vote.
Councilmember Veely? Aye. Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wondler?
Aye.
And Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you, Ms. Bailey.
You guys.
I'll be gone the last full week of June.
Okay. You just put that on my calendar so I know, send me an email and I'll put it in my Outlook calendar.
Can I
Councilmember Smith.
remember that if you're not available, you can appoint someone else.
Okay, thank you.
Please.
And Wanda is.
There's no water there.
This Wanda is very.
May I have order, please? Next item on the agenda, discussion decision approval of master short form agreement for professional services between HDR and the town of Stevensville. We had a couple of issues that we discussed with our town attorney regarding the law on this, the prevailing law on this contract. It was Florida, that has been corrected to Montana. There's also a question as to who does the locates. The locates will be called in by whoever decides to do the digging. Other than that, we have the town attorney's approval to sign the contract. Any public comment? Council comment or discussion? Okay, hearing none, call for vote.
I don't have a motion.
Oh,
Or a second.
that's right, I'm sorry, I apologize. Any motion on the floor?
I move for approval of a master short form agreement for the professional services between HDR and the town of Stevensville.
Okay, so the motion on the floor to approve master short form agreement for professional services between the HDR and the town of Stevensville. Is there a second? Councilmember Smith. So there's a first and a second on the floor to approve master short form agreement for professional services between HDR and the town of Stevensville. Is there any further council comment or discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote.
Councilmember Veely? Aye. Councilmember Ross?
Aye.
Councilmember Wondler?
Right.
And Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Next item on the agenda is board reports. We had planning and zoning board meeting last night. Councilmember Smith.
Yes, we can congratulate Tamara again for taking the chair and being voted as the chair. We also had some discussion regarding setting time for the regularly scheduled planning and zoning, and that was changed from 5 to 6 p.m. Little better for the communities that they can come to the meetings. We also had a very nice presentation regarding an 18-unit proposal on a apartment complex right across the street from the school. Very good program, what we've seen so far, and we look forward to seeing more of it. Outside of that, I think that would about sum it up, unless you have something else there, Mr. Mayor.
We discussed, term limits for the board members. We also discussed the urban area, the definition of the urban area. Definition of the urban area will be 1 mile south of town, west of the Bitterroot River, east of the supply ditch, which is indicated on our planning and zoning map. Our town attorney will be reviewing that. The town attorney didn't attend the meeting last night, so she can get a feel for the board, and we had a pretty satisfactory report. Ms. Ross did a pretty good job of running the meeting. Thank you. Even if she can't speak.
Today's much better.
I know how that is. Okay. Any other board reports? Okay. Town council comments. Councilmember Smith.
There is quite a list of corrections that we're going to be making in the future here. This is one of the reasons why you hear the old adage, the wheels of government turn slow. And this is primarily because we want to iron out all of these things, not just for today, but for future citizens and future councils, mayors, all of this. So it's all done in policy. And it's been a little short on that. And we will be working on to correct it. That's so everything can run smoothly and fairly for everybody.
Any other council comments? Okay. Executive report. I don't have a lot to report tonight. It's been the last 6 weeks have been fairly hectic. It's a dramatic learning curve. I will be attending the conference in Livingston on the 25th and 6th. So I'll be out of town. You folks have a conference coming up. We have 2 members that should be going to the conference. Was it May? Is it May? So you might want to look at that on your schedule. We should send 2 people at least.
Where is that?
I'm sorry?
Where is that?
That, go ahead.
Located in Billings this year.
They're very educational. I would highly recommend that people go. We did hire a new town attorney, Christine Lindley from Lindley Law. She's getting her feet wet in a number of areas. We expect her to help us out a lot. She's very fast on turning around items. For example, the contract for tonight. And we had that turned around within hours. It was really good. We appreciate that. I'll be meeting with department heads soon to talk about a few things, which is the motor pool idea. We at least have to bat that around a little bit to see what we can do to cut our costs in that area. I've already made preliminary contacts with the department heads and trying to get some ideas in that regard. Budget process is coming up pretty soon. I would like council consent to hold a CAL meeting on the 18th so that Robert can come in and brief you folks on our budget, expenditures, revenues, and the basic process that we're going to have to go through. Okay, if council has no problem with that, then we'll get that CAL meeting scheduled. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
Seems like yesterday we just did that.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye. The longest ones.